question: how can the public force the GOP to become the MAGA party? And this is an important point. It's something I've thought about a lot, and it's also something I'm not super equipped to answer intelligently because I'm not a DC insider. But I think I've picked up enough bits and pieces. And what surprises me is that I asked people this topic in the MAGA circles. Why is this not happening? And nobody has a good answer. And that is what is really appalling to me. Listen, I spend all day polling and putting out content about the polls. I don't also have the bandwidth to help one of our major political parties unscrew itself. I really don't. But I have time to think about it, and nobody else seems to be thinking about it. Now, I don't know what Chairman Watley does at the RNC all day. I don't know how many people he actually fired. I heard two things. I heard, oh, heads are rolling at the RNC. But then I also heard, well, they hired most of those people back and there's still a ton of scummy consultants there. And so I don't know who to believe on that. And I also know that he's been, I still think, in the role less than a year. Maybe it's approaching a year now. And so that's not enough time to fundamentally change an organization. It's really hard to turn a cruise ship. It really is. And we're seeing that with the federal government as well. I've heard from people who are federal employees that have the right issue set, the right mentality and principles. And they just say, like, this is going to be so hard. The fix is way harder than anybody knows. That's not to say that Trump's very aggressive actions can't have an impact. They can, and they should, but it's step one. Trump presidency 2.0 is not the end solution. It's the beginning solution. And there needs to be a follow up. And history tells us that nature abhors a vacuum. And so what will happen is that vacuum will get filled somehow. And it's not being set up to be filled, like you say, from the Republican Party. And I would tell everybody, if you're interested in this question and answer, just meet people locally in the Republican Party. Try to find your local precinct, maybe go to a county party event, maybe call up somebody from the county uh, GOP and say, hey, you got a chance to talk sometime, or go to a state level GOP event and just talk to these people and see what you think. Your state might be different than mine, but I was not impressed. I was not impressed at all. These are people who are essentially running as Republicans because Republicans are not equal Democrat. It wasn't, wow, we got to save the world. It wasn't, man, these policies have to get passed. It wasn't, we really got to take over the state legislature and here's our state plan to accomplish that. And that's not to say that that stuff doesn't happen, but it's not like, hey, we're here supporting the Trump MAGA agenda and we are now MAGA Republicans. Life continues. I mean, it's just like Frodo marching up the slopes of Mount Doom and all the hobbits are in the Shire, still farming, right? Like life inside the Shire goes on much as it does. That's what's happening in your state um, and local GOPs. And there are other organizations who nobody even knows about. I don't even know the entire list of Republican organizations that would need new leadership and redirection. The Republican Governors Association. Trump has very limited influence there, in my opinion. Because look at some of the governors are like Kemp. You're not going to have DeSantis going into the RGA and like knocking down walls to clear a space for MAGA. It's not going to happen. Then you have the Republican Senatorial Leadership Committee, I think it's called. I don't know who's leading that now. It was probably Mitch McConnell. I think it's Mitch McConnell who did control that, so it must be Thune now. You know, that's doing swamp stuff. Then you have the NRCC, the National Republican Congressional Committee. Same stuff. So those organizations control the purse strings. And the people in those organizations that control the purse strings are creatures of Washington, D.C. Their friends are in D.C., their cocktail parties are in D.C., the lobbyists that help them get campaign funding are in D.C., the vendors who get selected for consulting and direct mail and media are all in D.C. And none of those people are MAGA. Most MAGA candidates that you see at a grassroots level have consultants who are independent people who, oh, I used to work on campaigns and now I help MAGA candidates out. I know one, and he's doing a couple of really big campaigns and he knows his stuff. He's got a lot of connections, but it's not magical GOP money coming down like manna from heaven to MAGA campaigns. All that stuff is getting steered into establishment campaigns. And for that to get fixed, I'm sorry for the rant, but this is a topic I would love to make a short out of. And your little your name there is going to be at the bottom of it. So thank you. Is that it's a multi-billion-dollar operation that needs a centralized leadership structure and multiple 501c3s, multiple people who agree with the mission, essentially something like Project 2025. But that's not, in my opinion, what Project 2025 was. Project 2025 was how to staff an effective Trump 2.0 administration and what policy sets to focus on. It's it would take a very interesting set of funders and leaders with a very clearly defined and radical mission and focus, in my opinion, to turn the Republican Party into something different. And so it's an overwhelming problem, but a problem I think that a lot could be done for. You have things like the precinct strategy. Dan Schultz did get a lot of MAGA people into precinct committee spots, and that's great. It's been helpful, but it hasn't been enough. And I think if you talk to some of those precinct committee people that went through the precinct strategy, you would find, oh yeah, we're like outnumbered. Or maybe they'll have one local precinct, but the state leadership, you just can't get those people out. Their sole goal is to perpetuate their power within their own political structure. How do you fight that? But my answer should make it very clear why there is not a third party, because all of this infrastructure is almost impossible to build in modern politics. And so I don't know how you do it, but for Trump to win and Republicans to lose, and Trump to win and Republicans to lose, I don't think they're getting the right message from that either. If Trump were able to do anything, I feel like there are people with deep pockets who he could say, help me solve this problem. And I still don't think anybody's working on it. I don't think Doge Pack is getting to people. Like, they might be individually primarying a rhino here or a rhino there. I don't know. Um, Maybe Doge is doing this. Maybe Doge Pack is doing this. But I'm not hearing grumblings of, yeah, we're going after the head of the NRCC, or we're trying to figure out how to accomplish X, or we're trying to figure out how to make sure people don't copiously spend nationally raised money to pad their friends' pockets with kickbacks for direct. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. This is super cynical. But my advice for Trump, given the potential reality that nobody's trying to solve this problem, the only thing I could say is I don't know how to fix this other than to ruthlessly police your own party for fraud. That would be beautiful. And we see it, right? Tom Tillis is out there now. Roger Stone made a great tweet. I wonder if I can find this. If people haven't seen it, it's really pretty beautiful. Tom Tillis is the one that blew up Ed Martin's nomination, and we have all guessed like why that might be. He came out and said January 6th, and I don't think anybody really agrees with that statement. Oh yeah, here it is. But then Roger Stone said this. So yeah, Tom Tillis blows up Eagle Ed Martin's nomination to deputy DOJ, I think it was. And he winds up with a different role, still in the administration. Pardon czar, I think is what he was doing now. Deputy, I don't know. I think it was pardon czar. But Tom Tillis put himself in a tricky situation where he's been winning elections by very small margins. And now a lot of people are paying attention. There are talks to primary him. And he is not popular on Twitter, I can tell you that. But Roger Stone, Tom Tillis is the Republican Letitia James, up to his ass in mortgage fraud. Oh, no. Senator Tom Tillis, a senior Republican from North Carolina on key Senate committees, banking, finance, and judiciary, sorry, is implicated in a pattern of undisclosed real estate dealings suggesting potential fraud and tax evasion. From 2007 to 2016, Tillis used TRT Holdings LLC to conduct $0 property transfers, including some number on Enslow Place and a trailer park, transferred twice to Tillis linked entities without disclosure. These actions violate the Ethics in Government Act, requiring disclosures of assets over $1,000 and income over $200, and may involve fraudulent conveyance, false representation, and tax evasion, crimes with penalties of up to 5 years per count. Mapping discrepancies and missing parcel IDs further suggest concealment. What are the odds that it's just Tom Tillis? Pam Bondi needs to prosecute this corrupt rhino. And this is reporting out of Milla Joy. I don't know what her source is, but that's beautiful. And so, again, when the work to solve that problem is so hard and you have so many other issues and so many other enemies, but yet all of these people are probably hopelessly corrupt, the only thing I think you can do is go on a fatwa of government corruption and fraud and just bring these people to their knees. I just they have to change the tenor in DC. Trump needs to exert his influence. And there's a million things that they could be doing in Congress to free up this little block that the Republicans have. We haven't had any election integrity bills signed. Why? Oh, well, there's a 60 vote filibuster limit in the Senate. How about this? Since we all know that election integrity is an overwhelmingly big concern for all U.S. likely voters, essentially, 90% of voters say it's important to stop election fraud. How about make the Democrats filibuster election integrity legislation? Make them filibuster all freaking summer until they can't do it anymore. Break their spirit. Make them filibuster for hours. Yeah, make 90-year-olds get up there and talk for 20 hours with their poopy pants on. For election integrity, the Democrats are not going to win on that. Cory Booker did not win on that thing he did. That was all just to try and raise his standing in the Democrat Party, which is like, at this point, I guess, from a leadership perspective, rearranging deck seats on the Titanic. If you've learned something, please follow us at RasmussenReports.com, Rasmussen_poll at Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Mark_R_Mitchell at Twitter. And thanks for watching.